For decades, Phil Collins wasn't just a drummer, he was the drummer. His iconic rhythms propelled Genesis to legendary status and defined the sound of an entire generation. From electrifying solos to unforgettable hits like In the Air Tonight, Collins' hands seemed almost magical, capable of bringing music to life with an energy and precision that fans worldwide admired. But now, at 74, the world has received heartbreaking news. Phil Collins can no longer hold drumsticks. For longtime fans, the news is more than just a physical setback, it's a poignant reminder of the passage of time and the fragility of even the most talented musicians. Rumors began circulating after a recent interview and social media updates, sending fans into shock and sparking an outpouring of support and concern. How does someone who has spent a lifetime perfecting their craft cope when their body no longer allows them to do what they love most? Behind the headlines lies a story of resilience, perseverance, and an unshakable love for music. Despite the physical limitations, Phil Collins continues to inspire through his legacy, his recordings, and the countless musicians who have been influenced by his work. He has faced a battle many could never imagine, a battle not against critics or audiences, but against the very instrument that once defined him. His journey is deeply human, a mix of triumphs. Phil Collins' name has been synonymous with rhythm for over 5 decades. From his explosive drum solos in Genesis to his unforgettable solo hits that topped charts across the globe, he has defined the heartbeat of modern music. For millions of fans, watching Collins behind his drum kit was witnessing pure magic, a seamless blend of talent, energy, and passion. His hands, once nimble and commanding, could conjure beats that stirred emotions, moved crowds, and created moments no one could forget. But time, as it does for everyone, has a way of altering even the strongest hands. At 74, Phil Collins recently shared an update that left the music world reeling. He can no longer hold drumsticks. A small, simple sentence, yet it carries a weight far greater than words can convey. It marks the end of an era, a stark reminder of both human fragility and the passage of time. Even for a living legend, for fans, this news was shocking. How could the man who electrified stadiums, who made music feel like an extension of the soul, suddenly be limited in such a fundamental way? Social media erupted with messages of support, disbelief, and sorrow. But behind the headlines lies a more nuanced story, a story not of defeat, but of resilience, adaptation, and enduring influence. Phil's struggle isn't just physical, it's emotional, too. Imagine spending a lifetime honing a skill that defined your identity, your passion, and your career, only to face a day when your body no longer cooperates. The frustration, the sadness, the bittersweet acceptance, it's a journey few outside the music world can truly understand. But Phil has confronted it with the same grace and professionalism that has defined his career. Friends and collaborators report that despite his inability to drum as he once did, Phil continues to immerse himself in music. He guides younger artists, shares his wisdom, and explores creative avenues that don't rely on physical strength. He experiments with production, songwriting, and mentoring, proving that even when one form of expression fades, the spirit of artistry can remain unbroken. This chapter of Phil Collins' life is a profound reminder that even the greatest talents face limitations, and yet they can find ways to continue contributing, inspiring, and creating. While fans mourn the drums that will no longer be played with his iconic touch, they also celebrate the legacy, the music, and the heart of a man who has given so much to the world. In the coming chapters, we'll explore the journey that led Phil to this point, his battles with health, the emotional toll of his physical decline, and how he continues to embrace music and life with courage and dignity. It's a story of heartbreak, but also of hope, inspiration, and the enduring power of a true artist. For decades, Phil Collins' life revolved around rhythm. Every beat he played, every song he wrote, became a piece of his identity. Behind the stage lights and sold-out arenas, music was not just a career, it was his lifeline, his purpose, and the way he connected with the world. But as the years passed, life began presenting challenges that no amount of talent could overcome. It started subtly. Friends and colleagues noticed small changes in his hands and wrists, minor aches and stiffness that he brushed off with humor. He joked about slowing down, but inside, Phil felt the anxiety of a musician aware that time was leaving its mark. His hands, once capable of complex, rapid drumming sequences, were gradually betraying him. The dexterity that had powered his explosive solos began to waver. At first, it was manageable, a slight difficulty holding a stick, a minor tremor, but soon, it became undeniable. The drumming that defined him might not be possible again. The truth hit hardest when Phil attempted to rehearse for a private session. What had once been effortless, the fluid motion of sticks across drums, the precision, the speed, suddenly required immense concentration and strength. Frustration mounted, and tears, though rarely seen, silently traced the struggle. For someone whose life had revolved around producing rhythm, the realization that his body could no longer cooperate was devastating. But it wasn't just about drumming. It was about identity. Phil Collins had spent decades building a reputation as one of the greatest drummers and songwriters of all time. His hands weren't just instruments. They were extensions of his soul. Losing the ability to play meant confronting a deep emotional pain, a grief that only someone whose life has been inseparable from their craft can understand. Despite the heartbreak, Phil refused to give up entirely. He sought medical guidance, explored therapies, and adapted his approach to music. Though traditional drumming became impossible, he discovered new ways to remain creatively active. From composing with electronic instruments to collaborating with fellow artists, Phil found ways to continue sharing his genius with the world. He transformed limitation into opportunity, a testament to his resilience and unwavering passion for music. The impact of his condition rippled beyond the studio. Fans who had grown up with his music reacted with overwhelming emotion. Social media became a mixture of heartbreak and admiration. Messages poured in, expressions of sorrow for what he had lost, gratitude for the music he had given, and admiration for his courage in facing such a deeply personal struggle. The world realized that behind the global icon was a human being facing a challenge that could shake even the strongest soul. Family and close friends became his anchor. They supported him emotionally and creatively, helping him navigate a life where the drumming that once defined him had changed forever. While he could no longer perform as before, Phil's influence and inspiration remained undiminished. He proved that artistry isn't solely about physical skill, it's about creativity, heart, and perseverance. This period of struggle taught Phil Collins profound lessons about aging, adaptation, and acceptance. It showed him that even when life takes away what seems irreplaceable, there are ways to continue contributing, inspiring, and finding joy. For the fans, it was heartbreaking to see him struggle. For Phil, it was an opportunity to redefine himself and his music on his own terms. In the next chapter, we'll dive deeper into how Phil coped emotionally, the support system that helped him persevere, and the ways he continues to inspire fans worldwide. Even without the drums that once defined his legendary career, Phil Collins' journey through music has always been about more than talent. It has been about heart, passion, and connection. Every album, every solo, every drum solo has reflected a man deeply committed to his craft. But now, at 74, he faced a challenge no fan could anticipate: the loss of the very skill that had defined him for decades. The hands that once powered his legendary drum solos could no longer hold drumsticks, and with that loss came an emotional storm unlike anything he had ever faced. For someone whose identity was intertwined with music, the change was jarring. Friends recall moments of frustration and quiet reflection, where Phil would stare at his drum kit, the room filled with memories of thousands of performances, while acknowledging a truth that weighed heavily on his spirit. The drums that had brought joy, success, and connection now symbolized limitations he could not ignore. Yet, in those moments of vulnerability, Phil demonstrated a resilience that has defined his career. Rather than withdrawing completely, he found ways to adapt. He turned to composing, mentoring, and producing, leveraging decades of experience to inspire younger musicians. Music remained his life, even if the method had changed. While he could no longer sit behind the drum kit, he could still shape rhythms, influence melodies, and guide others in ways only a master musician could. Family and friends played a crucial role during this period. They became pillars of support, offering encouragement, reassurance, and emotional stability. For Phil, their presence was not just comforting, it was vital. In private conversations, he spoke openly about frustration, grief, and the bittersweet acceptance of limitations, revealing a side of the legend few had ever seen. The public might see the polished performances, but behind the scenes was a man confronting mortality, aging, and the physical consequences of a lifetime devoted to music. Even with the challenges, Phil maintained an unwavering dedication to creativity. He experimented with electronic percussion, songwriting, and collaborative projects that allowed him to continue producing the sounds he loved. Fans who followed his journey saw glimpses of this evolution and responded with admiration. Social media lit up with messages of support, reminders that his influence extended far beyond what he could physically perform. The legend was no longer defined by drumsticks, it was defined by the music, inspiration, and emotional depth he had given the world for decades. Phil's struggle also highlighted a broader truth about life. Talent and identity are more than physical ability. They are rooted in passion, persistence, and the willingness to adapt in the face of change. He became a living example that even when circumstances shift dramatically, creativity and influence can endure. His story resonated with fans not only because of heartbreak, but because it illustrated courage, adaptability, and the refusal to surrender to adversity. Through this period, Phil Collins found a new rhythm, not one measured by drumsticks and beats, but by reflection, mentorship, and creative exploration. He discovered that music exists beyond physical performance. It resides in vision, emotion, and the connections formed with others who share the love of art. The experience changed him, shaped him, and in many ways, strengthened his legacy. Fans might mourn the loss of his drumming, but they also witnessed a transformation, a man who faced a profound challenge and continued to find purpose, inspiration, and meaning through music. In the next chapter, we'll explore how Phil embraces life today, the legacy he continues to build, and the inspiration he offers to fans across the world. Even without the drumsticks that once defined him, Phil Collins' career has always been a testament to talent, passion, and resilience. From his early days with Genesis to his massive solo success, he captivated audiences with not only his extraordinary skill, but also the emotion and authenticity he poured into every performance. His drumming defined an era, and his music continues to touch hearts around the globe. Yet, at 74, with the heartbreaking reality that he can no longer hold drumsticks, his story has taken on a new, deeply human dimension. For many, the thought of Phil Collins without his drums is almost unimaginable. His hands once seemed almost magical, capable of translating emotion into rhythm with astonishing precision. Now, however, fans are confronted with a different narrative, one that highlights vulnerability, adaptation, and the strength of the human spirit. While the physical act of drumming may have ended, Phil's influence and legacy continue, proving that true artistry transcends the instruments one plays. This period in his life has brought reflection. Phil has spoken candidly about the struggles of facing aging, physical limitations, and the emotional toll of seeing one's capabilities diminish. But rather than succumbing to despair, he has embraced alternative ways to remain connected to music. He composes, collaborates, and mentors younger musicians, offering guidance drawn from decades of experience. He demonstrates that influence and inspiration are not limited by physical constraints. They exist in creativity, wisdom, and the ability to touch others through art. Family and close friends have played a vital role in this chapter of Phil's life. Their support has helped him navigate not just the loss of his drumming ability, but the accompanying emotional challenges. Through their encouragement, he has found the strength to adapt, redefining what it means to be a musician in later life. For Phil, music is no longer just about performance, it is about legacy, connection, and the enduring impact of a lifetime devoted to creativity. Fans, too, have been inspired by his resilience. Social media and interviews reflect a deep admiration, not only for his past achievements, but for the way he handles adversity today. Supporters have expressed heartbreak, yes, but also awe at his courage and determination. They see a man who continues to contribute meaningfully to the world of music, even when faced with obstacles that would have sidelined others. Phil Collins' journey serves as a powerful lesson. Artistry is not defined solely by physical skill, but by vision, persistence, and the ability to adapt. While his drumsticks may now rest, the music lives on in every note he has played, every song he has written, and every life he has touched through his work. His story is a reminder that legacy is built not just on talent, but on resilience, humility, and the courage to face life's challenges with grace. Ultimately, this chapter of Phil's life is both heartbreaking and inspiring. It is a story of loss, yes, but also of transformation, creativity, and the enduring power of the human spirit. Fans may mourn the drumming that can no longer be heard live, but they also celebrate the artist who continues to influence and inspire. Phil Collins' legacy is no longer just in the beats he once played. It is in the lives he has touched, the lessons he has shared, and the unwavering passion that defines him as a musician, a mentor, and a human being. Through this journey, one thing is clear: while the hands that once drummed may have slowed, the heart that creates music beats as strongly as ever. And in that, fans find hope, inspiration, and a profound appreciation for a life devoted to art, love, and the power of expression.